Hello, Sham. How are you?
I'm fine. Hi, Ashok. It's been a while since we co-hosted. Yeah, it feels like a
But you know
while.
what? It's
Mm,
September. Can you imagine that?
yes, and someone in a group chat that uh, I am with, I'm in a few group chats anyway, uh, posted on the 1st of September, Earth, Wind and Fire, September. All listen to it, right? And it's like, how many people here know about Earth, Wind and Fire? I'm like, can we just put up a show of hands and then it will date you, right? But then again, now you can't say it dates you because a lot of the songs that are kind of like the oldies have
Yep,
become like
yep.
very very hip and happening as well now, so go figure.
That
Anyway,
is true. That is true. The younger generation tends to, I've realized, they kind of like the old songs,
correct.
which is the best genre of songs anyway.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's also due to us parents who are whatever, like, boomers and X's and whatever, who played the songs regardless of what our children were, whatever
That's true.
generation.
That's true.
Yeah, and said, listen, okay, this is what music is about. Okay, kind of thing.
And speaking of listen and what music is all about, what is leadership in Flow Asia all about? Welcome
Yeah.
everyone for logging into the show. This is a show where Malar, Sham, and I we quiz a lot of leaders in Asia. We've been doing this since 2022, right? Where we've been asking them a lot of questions. And you know what we've discovered? We have discovered that they're very quiet leaders, but very impactful leaders. And what we've also discovered is they have a framework of thinking about not only about growth, about personal growth, their
Mm-hmm.
leadership growth, and also
Mm-hmm.
business results and business growth in that sense. And we've
Yep.
been learning a lot from them every week. To me, like I
Yes.
always say, it's we're learning from a leader once a week. It's like reading a leadership book, right? Once a
Yep.
week. And
Yep.
today
And
we've got someone all the way from
Bangkok.
Thailand, Bangkok. And
Oh,
who is
yeah,
he?
yeah. And as much as we are learning, we're hoping that our viewers are learning as well. I'm sure we do because we get very, very suddenly, comments that come to us and say, "Oh, I've seen your shows. It's really, really good." Just a little bit of a pep talk for us as we bring up our guest for today.
Sure.
Chut, okay, and I'm going to make him and not pronounce his whole name because I do not want to do a disservice to his name, right?
Fair enough.
And then I'll introduce him to all of us. So I'm going to bring Chut up to stage and change our configuration. No, demote, Sham, demote, get into your rightful place. Hi, Chut. Good evening.
Hi, Sham. Hi, Ashok. Good
Yeah,
evening from Bangkok, Thailand.
yeah, all right. So Ashok has you. We just have to make sure that Ashok doesn't become cheeky and ask that question that he said that he wanted to ask you. But I'm going to ask you to pronounce your name in full so that we hear it in the way it should be heard. Right.
Oh, sure.
Ah,
It's Chutchapol Youngwiriyakul. Yeah,
ah,
that's my.
that's your full name, and I've always known you as Chut, right? And like I posted on LinkedIn, we got to know each other because you worked in the organization that I was serving from inside out, outside in, and we found a not a friendship but a working relationship that was respectful, genial, and also quite a lot of fun, right? And then you left that and moved on to another life in Thailand. And then and I was like really, really surprised. I'm not telling you what the details is because I think we need to ask you to say it in your way, right? And then you moved on into your current role with Thaicom, right? Um, but before we go on with all the questions, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us your journey from, Singapore, and then your career choice when you went back to Thailand, and then your subsequent career choice when you moved again. And when you hear everyone out there hear Chut's reply, you'll know why I'm asking him to tell us the story. Okay, over to you, Chut.
Okay, so I have to go back a bit further than just Singapore.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Yes, because my education background, I'm an engineer by
Hmm.
training, both
Hmm.
bachelor and master degree, and I start my career as an engineer in manufacturing plant, and then it's not like always in HR space, but start from engineering
Hmm.
to operation and then to HR. So even back then, before even I came to Singapore, um,
Mm.
I did many choices already. Like many people ask, like why you switch from manufacturing career path to HR, and
Mm.
from Thailand to Singapore and back to Thailand again. So I have time to reflect about it, and I think that one thing that make me make this decision is about my self awareness and my self reflection.
Mm.
So every year, from even from year one that I start working as an engineer, I always think, what do I like about this role? What I don't like about this role?
Mm.
So after a few years, I start to see the patterns. Like, okay, yes, I can do engineering role in engineering tasks, but when I have a chance to manage people, I'm kind of okay. I want to be more. I'm curious to know more,
Mm.
and I can use my knowledge because I kind of like love reading books. I can apply that some of the concept and models to my team, and I say that okay. Once I'm in operation role, leading operation teams, I can manage, or I can use what I learn to help make a small impact to my team. I think, okay, if I can do this in a bigger role, like in HR, that my impact would be beyond just my team, then that might be interesting. So that's why I start to explore my career to HR, and to Singapore. That's also another choice I have to make. Like, yes, I have been study abroad in my master degree and when I was in high school, but I think in a career wise, working in different country will give you the edge, the understanding of diversity, because I'll be one of many nationalities in a working team. So I can see the world or the work in different view, and that's also part of stretching myself out of my comfort zone. So that link back to my personal values. Two of them are about learning and making impact. And then when I reflecting back, yes, those are my guiding principle that I use, and I think that it has been working well so far.
Okay. I was just about to say that you choose your choices stretch you, and you use the same word as well, right? And you also use the word impact. And in our pre-meet, that's the angle that we came to, that the realization Ashok said impact seems to be something that is very close to your heart. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? And I'm gonna let's play with this impact field a little bit in terms in your context. Why is impact important to you? What meaning do you attach to it, or what is the sense that you derive from it? Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, and tell us, what does impact look like for you? How do you know that you have impacted somebody? So one is, why is it important to you? And because obviously you're going to tell us why, how do you know that you have made impact? What's your kind of test for it?
Okay. Um, for the first part, when I'm thinking about impact, it doesn't have to be like big world changing impact kind of things.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about how can I make the differences, and with that, it could be from my action, from my decision, or it could be just my behavior.
Mm.
I just want people to feel better. It could be a better life. That's the end goal. Like, okay, You interact with me, you working with me, you have a better life, or it could be a better work, or even better feeling. So I can scale down to very small, simple thing like smile, and people feel good after meeting with me, and that kind of impact them thinking. So it could be like one at a time, or making a policy or decision that impact a lot of people's life, or the way they work, or about their career. So that's how I define the impact that I want to make.
Ashok, I know I said it's your turn, but can I just ask one more question?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm sorry if it comes across a bit on the rough side, right? I'm looking at, and because you said, I'm looking at your definition, feeling better, right? That the person feels better. Now, from a humane perspective, from a human to human perspective, I get it. Totally get where you're coming from, right? From a leader perspective, and then to a business perspective, how do you make that correlation? How do you make that jump? How do you say that this is worth doing? I know from a human to human, as I said, very clear. We are an organization, you're running a business, you're leading a team. Thaicom is no small fry company, right? It has serious business. How do you make that link in terms of leadership impact as well as a business impact?
Okay, very good question. Because when I'm thinking about make people feeling good, feeling happy, doesn't mean that I'm pleasing people, because that's not fair to the business. That's not my role. My role is to make sure that it's fair for both business and employee. So when I make decision, or I create a policy, or anything, I have to make sure that what's the rationale or principle behind that makes sense and fair. So some people might get a negative impact from that decision, because if you're leading a big team, every decision will, of course, some will get positive, and some might not feel good about the decision. My role is to make sure that it's fair and it's principle based. So that's how I look at making impact as a leader.
Okay. You just won my heart. You said the word that is very important to me: fair and justice. Right? And yeah, I get you. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm passing the baton to Ashok, so I can wrap my brain around and follow up questions.
Thank you very much for that, Chut. Okay, so what I'm hearing so far is you do a lot of reflections, and I like the fact that you said you reflect about, what do I like about my role? What do I not like about my role? And I think it kind of confirms to me of all the leaders who come in for our show, they tend to do this. They have greater self-awareness, and you just displayed that. It's a constant reflection. And I like the questions you're asking. And I think this is a very important question for every one of us to ask. What am I liking about my role? What am I not liking? How does it sit with my values? I think these are very important questions, and obviously it has been directing your choices. And you talked about making an impact, which is about actions, decisions, and behaviors. And of course, with the Thai hospitality, you said, "Let's give a smile." I like that. But I'm going to dovetail into the impact and the decisions here now. I like what you said earlier about making better is not necessarily making people all happy at the same point in time. It's all about being fair, right? So let's talk about being fair and making that decision, because you want to make an impact to someone. You have the right intentions, but would they take the intentions correctly? So how do you now balance that struggle between being fair, where you want to make a positive impact? You say you want to make that difference, but maybe you might be coming from a good intention place, but maybe for them, they have a different view altogether. So how do you now balance that, and how do you still go moving forward, making that difference?
There's no such thing as a perfect balance between these
Yes.
two.
Mm.
But
Nice.
at least you have to be able to live with that decision. Be able to tell yourself in the mirror that why I make that decision, and that's fair. And maybe in such a important decision, I will not just make my mind and do it. Of course, I have to ask and check with colleagues, with the C level, with stakeholder, or even my mentor,
Mm.
whether does that make sense to you? Because otherwise, I might stuck in my own bias and think, okay, from my point of view, this is perfectly fair, but
Mm.
from other perspective, I might be wrong, and I'm open to the change, because it's not like fixed in the stone when I make decision, but I
Mm.
want to get uh, perspective or input from different angles as much as I can before I make decision.
Nice, nice. You know what, Chut, again, your answer is so authentic, so true in that sense, because you started off by first saying there's no perfect balance. So let's recognize that, you know. But again, you do a reflection and ask yourself, okay, what was my intention behind it? You still reflect to see whether you're still in the North Star. Are you still doing the right thing? And to
Mm.
ensure that you said you have biases, and that's owning it, you know. And with your bias, what you do is you deflect it by talking to your mentor or adding more information to have the clarity. And I like that because it shows that you are willing to be vulnerable, at the same point of time decisive, you know, and you're learning again, because that's part of your values, isn't it? It's about learning all the time and making the impact, right? No, so thank you for the beautiful answer. And I'd like to find out from you, how do you influence impact one person at a time? How do you do that?
Mm. So I view every interaction with other as an opportunity to make an impact. So it could be simple, just smile or asking the name. Like when I met, I like to walk around the office almost every hour if I'm not in the meeting. People ask like, are you um, looking for something, or I say no. I don't want to sitting in the office the whole 8 hours. I want to stretch, I want to exercise a bit, and at the same time, I want to get sense like what's going on in the office.
Mm,
I can sense that by just walking past, like, or people look tense, or they are talking or discussing about ideas. So I want to get a sense like, okay, how's that? And I can reflect that with my leadership team,
mhm,
or I can just stop by and ask, like, what's going on here? You look like having a lot of fun. It's not in like I want to stop them. I just want to be part of that. So so that's how I look like. Okay, um, it's always an opportunity for me to make them feel heard. At least
okay.
like as the head of HR, like, okay, I'm not just sitting in my office and doing the meeting. I really want to get to know employees. And I told my team that for all new hires every month, please block my schedule. I want to greet them, welcome them myself every month. Could be
Wow.
5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Mm,
I want to be there in person if I'm in the office, not on the business trip. So I also reflect like, if I'm new here, I'm new high, what I would feel if the top leaders spend time on the first day with me, welcoming, and also talking about why,
mm,
talking about their role and the mission, where we are going, and the linkage between what they may seem like, okay, I'm just grad from university, I will do
right.
whatever you say, but I look at the role and I link that to how you as a new hire support or helping company to the mission that we are going.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Chut. So the next time someone asks you, what are you doing walking around the office? You can tell them I'm doing my 10,000 steps, clocking my 10,000 steps.
Oh yes.
But no, it's such a beautiful thing because I like the fact that you commit to make the time where possible when you're Bangor in the office to meet the new hires. I mean, and that's a beautiful experience that you're giving because now the head of HR is coming to meet each new hire, right? And welcome them, even if it's 5 minutes. That's an experience that will leave such a positive impact on a person and a smile, right? And the fact that what you're doing is lovely. You are very clear about their role and you link their role to the mission. What you're doing from day one is sparking the interest about their purpose, about their contribution, and how their contribution is going to be making a valuable difference. You know, you leave them, they leave with a belief and idea that they are going to make that difference too. Right. So thank you for the advice again. So not only reflections, but you also link people's role to the mission of the organization. I love it. Thank you very much. Sham, I got one more question. Or do you have a question for? Or you do? No, you don't yet. Not yet. We're going to ask you 3 questions after this. Okay. Now that's one person at a time that you make an impact. Now earlier on, you talk about being the head of HR, right? Now, how do you when we talk about HR, a lot of people look at HR just from a very passive point of view, doing compensation and benefits and all of that. But in reality, HR also needs to understand the business environment, the business challenges, right? And how to support the organization's direction with the people. So, how do you influence your team to understand and go beyond their role to understand business challenges beyond HR? How do you do that?
Okay, so first of all, it's not their fault. It's not their fault because they know what they are doing, and because I'm looking from different perspective, I'm in the management team, so I get more inputs, more information than my team. So what I do is that first of all I tell them. So in our HR meeting, so I can share what's going on in a company. So kind of like relay the message from what I know, so they are aware that, okay, this is what's going on in the bigger picture. So now they know. Then I ask them. First I inform, then I ask them to be curious about the business, about the people in the business. So that's how I stretch them a little bit, and ask them maybe a few months after, what you have learned about this business unit. What do you notice about the change in number of recruitment, and link that to maybe a broader picture, like, okay, look at the economy at the moment, look at when we open up one role, how many candidates apply, and what the implication, or guess why there's so many people apply for this role. So that the thing that I try to involve the context and share them to the team and build their curiosity.
Wow.
So 2 ways.
No, I love that. I love that. I like the fact that when you first started off, you again being the very humble leader, you said it's not their fault, But and then I like the fact that you said, yes, you have purview to information. So what you do is you share that information to everyone, and you just don't leave it as that. As you share this information, you ask them to be curious and link the information that you have brought to their role, to the business challenges, to the business objectives. you know. And it appears to me you are facilitating a lot of conversation, like a consultant also, right? In helping them think. Yes, that probably links to your past role, right?
Yes.
You know, I like the fact that you facilitate that conversation so to help them think. And I can see how you're also sharing your own personal value of learning across to them by asking these questions, because you're asking them to be curious. You are not providing them the answers, you're providing them the ability to think clearly, ask the right questions so you can guide them. I love that. Thank you very much for that. Sham, shall I ask one more question, please, please, please? I'm loving it. He's
Yeah,
giving me a lot of nuggets. You know,
go.
yeah. You know, I know from a little bit of the background. You've been in the corporate space before, and you left the corporate space, right? Left the geography also from Singapore to Bangkok, but also left the corporate space and then back into the corporate space. Now, to me, this is very interesting because you have seen a certain way of organization operating, certain set of behaviors, perhaps. And when you left and you came back, I'm very curious now if you see changes. You know, what are the changes that you see in the work environment that is so different from the past? What are
Okay.
you?
So
Could be technology, people,
there,
process.
there
Yeah.
are few things that I can think of. The first one is, of course, the technology, how people in the workplace leverage that, and thanks to COVID, that accelerate the adoption of technology. And now you see a lot of platform and that help people working across the boundary. So that's the first thing that I see change in the past five years. And that linked to the second thing is about the blur line between work and life.
Hmm.
Because with technology now you can work almost like everywhere. And now it's like you work all the time because your email, your work, you can open it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop. So even you take a vacation, go abroad, you take a laptop with you, or even phone, you can still checking and answering or calling. Yeah. So the blur line on that part, I see a lot of things that happening. And the third part is about how the workplace is become part of employer branding. So in the past, you have the office, okay, it's nice to have clean, maybe downtown, very convenient location. But now it's not enough. You need to make your workplace a little bit more attractive and be part of employer brand. So you see a lot of co-working space. You make your office not just like enough cubicle for your team, but also what about collaboration space? What about cafe, a little cafe inside your office? And yeah, so that's the change that I see in the past like 5 years. More and more companies are thinking about the workplace, not just the place to work, but the place to have a part of overarching employer brand.
A
Nice.
community.
Nice community. Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is you've seen technology shifts, right? In helping people work better, more efficiently, in that sense. And you're seeing a blur between life and work. You know, sometimes it's getting big too much. I mean, we can go a bit deeper dive into that and say, is it right, wrong? What can we do better, right? And what we're also seeing is the workplace becoming. It has to be different from an employee branding point of view, right?
Mhm.
Nice, nice. Sham, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Ashok. I'm going to say hello to a couple of people who have joined us. One is Ashraf. I see Ashraf Khalid. I see you on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us. this evening. And the other is Tirukesan Padmanathan, who's joining us off Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And others, if I don't happen to see you, because sometimes, as we're talking about tech is good. Sometimes tech also blinds us, so we don't see things that are there. So you are there. Either ask a question or say hello, and then we can say hello back. Okay. Hang on a second. I'm seeing another one. Yes, there we go. I'm sure. Okay. So I want to cycle back to some of the things that you said earlier, Chut, and it was around being principled, fairness, right? And you also talked about you put Simon Sinek's golden circle in action. When someone comes in and joins the organization, you talk to them about how their role is linked to the overall purpose of the organization, right? The why, the big why, and why that is so important. You talked also about getting feedback. You're very not astute, just astute, but you're very deliberate about getting feedback. Yeah. You get feedback by asking people about what they think about something, or you get feedback in terms of whether you are in the right track, right? And that's something that people are not comfortable with, right? Doing so for themselves. They wait for feedback to be given to them, but rather than you go and ask for it. You purposely, deliberately source for different perspectives because you want to be better at decision making. So there are two things here I want to talk about: the getting feedback to see if you're fair, whether you're not seeing some point of view, making it a principled decision, and the other is about getting different perspectives. So I'll ask the first question on fairness. What frustrates you when there is lack of fairness?
Life is not fair. I mean, first of all, you have to admit that. Otherwise, you will always feel frustrated. But what I think is that, is there anything that I can do to move things a little bit better? So I'm not gonna change everything and make sure it's all fairness, but I do what I can do in my power to move things in a better direction.
Okay. And that's it's your way of managing the fact that the world is not fair, and there will be, as much as we can, right, try to be fair and balanced and principle. There's something that will sway, right? That's something that will push you back. So what can I do? And I noticed that that's also something very consistent that you do small changes,
Right.
small impacts consistently, right? And you're not, like you said, looking for the big ones, but you're consistent about, because you're looking for the long term rather than just that boom, right? You're looking at in the ways that you're coaching your HR team to look beyond just the HR. You're looking at getting them to look at the tangential, right? The business how it's connected, everything that they're doing, it's connected, right? So it's that small micro changes that you're making that perhaps tips the scale in fairness. Now, if we go to the other perspective, the other part that I want to talk about, which is different perspectives. How do you, I can see how the connection is to fairness, right? And making an impact or a change that is fair for everyone. What are some of the things that you do to and allow people the safety to share a different perspective, right? And here's why I'm asking you that. That one of the spaces that I do work with is in the space of being able to give a point of view, right? A point of view at work. And I've taught professionals for many, many years doing that. While we do have that skill flourishes when the culture supports that ability you have the ability to do it. Like, you're not going to be penalized if you do it, right? So, how, in your way, do you encourage or create that culture that allows different perspectives? So, not just the culture, but what do you do to yourself, for yourself, to say, making it easy for you to get a different perspective, because it's not easy to hear someone give you a contra point of view to what you're having. Mhm.
First of all, it's not easy, even though I try. So if people come from the context that I have to watch out my back and make sure that I didn't say anything wrongly in the organization, then people will always on their guards. So what I do is that I said I start small with my HR team first. Like, okay, I really want to hear from you, and even that, it still takes time, because with the hierarchy, like I'm the VP and they are down the chain, and I'm kind of a very open people. So even you are new high, 5 level down, I still want to hear your thought. And in the first few months, they just like look to their manager and their manager like, can I say? so it will take time, but at least, first of all, I said, I really want to hear, and there's no consequences, and I have to make sure that there's no consequences of saying wrong thing in my power, in my team. Across the team, then that another issue that I have to change a little bit at a time, because it's not like head of HR said everyone be open and everyone gonna just share the idea. No, they're not. It takes time to gain trust from the team to be able to open up and see, like, once someone open up, what's the consequences? Are they getting punished by saying the wrong thing or things that not align with the leader's idea? Is that the case? Or can we take some ideas or opinion from maybe a frontline employee and implement it and say, yes, this is a good idea, even though it come from someone, and most likely they are the one who know how to fix it, and we make it tangible, like a small thing, and then, okay, we hear you, we implement that, thank you. And the whole organization will see that, okay, someone stick out and say her mind, and she's got reward. So that's kind of things that it's not easy. It's not even perfect in my team. Some of my teams still hesitant, like, can I say, because you are so smart, I don't know what to add values here. But of course, you have your own experience, different set of experience, and I value that. I might see the world from different angles. So let's hear it. And I try to be the last to speak. This is also from the book as well. Like, once you said, this is my idea, that tendency that the rest of the team will say something similar to my idea. But okay, of course I have my idea, but I'll be the last one to speak. And that helps.
And you're so right. You brought up the point about past programming, right? As much as you are a leader, any leader who's trying to deliberately create a safe environment, a nurturing environment, you also have to take into consideration or into account that each individual brings their own programming that came from wherever, the different leaders that they work with and so forth, right? What's your programming that has made you resilient in receiving different perspectives and being comfortable to hear different perspectives, being comfortable for someone to say, Chuck, that doesn't make sense, for example. And here's the reason why I'm asking. The reason I'm asking is that as much as we work with giving people skills to say something on and give different opinions, there's also the leader or the other person being open to listen to it, right? So it's communication at the end of the day. So what's been your wiring or rewiring to help you become more comfortable listening to it? Because it's not natural, right, for us to hear something.
Natural.
Yeah, for us to hear something that's contra to what we are thinking about, right? Yeah.
There are two things that I can think of. The first one is that I have a chance to work with very, very smart people. So you know by heart that there are so many people that are smarter than you, and you get the humbleness from that. And that's why I'm still a learner, because I know I might be far ahead of many people, but there's so many people out there who far smarter than me. So that's why I have to keep learning and listening to other opinions. And the second thing is about my coaching skill. You may not know that I'm also a certified coach. Back in consulting world, I'm the executive coach. So to get that certification and practice coaching, you have to practice active listening, and that part of a coach. So I learn a lot and I apply to my work. So I can speak less, and even though I know the answer, I want to say it, keep it. And then now it's more natural. So I can listen to someone who has very different view from me without like, no, just cut it. No, okay. It's your view. I don't have to agree, but I want to understand the rationale behind. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. We see it differently, but yeah, okay, interesting. Why would you think that? So I can trace back into their assumptions, their beliefs, and then okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, so that part of the coaching skill that I've been practicing in many years back in the corporate life, I can use that in as a management. Yeah.
You've given us a beautiful example of will and skill at play. The will, i.e., the mindset that you come from, that you bring right with you, that I have a chance of work. Here's my chance, my opportunities of working with very, very smart people. So that's a mindset, right? That's the will, or the wanting to say, that's the space I want to be in. And the skill that comes with it, which is your coaching skill, which in then brought in the fact that you could listen, right? And listen cleanly, right? Listen without assumptions, listen without, having that answer, kind of a thing that comes out. So it's a beautiful example of will and skill really nicely balancing off in order to, help you deal with different perspectives. So thank you very much for that. Before I ask the next question and pass it on to Ashok, I'm just going to say hello to a couple of people who just joined us. Jasmine Sumadi, hello, nice to see you on Facebook. And Hok Kun Chu, good to see you too. Say hello to Malar for me, yeah? Okay, because Chu is in the same space as Malar, relatively speaking. Anyway, so the question I have for you before I pass on to Ashok is, when you create an environment that's different. So you have come into a team, you've created an environment that's different. You have made changes in the individual, you made changes systemically as well. Like I'm just taking an example of your team, right? Where you're informing them, you're making them more curious, and the longer you work with them, they start building that muscle and strengthening that muscle of curiosity, right? How, and I know that there is the law of sometimes, we cannot control all things, but I just like to just drill a little bit more. Assuming you leave, Chut, you leave and you don't, not the organization, but you move into a different position. You're no longer directly involved. How do you think, how are you thinking on keeping that change, and it doesn't erode away? It's still there. There's still there's still that persona still in that team, right? Or another way is that team leaves and you're hoping that change, that impact continues with them to the next space that they go into, right? Someone in the team. How do you think about that? I'm digging a little bit deeper. I know it's not in the questions that we have given to you, but I thought I want to take it down just a little bit that way.
I think setting an example or inspire them to see what's possible is my best way for the team to see what are the possibility if you're doing this. Because I learned from many of my managers in the past. I look at them, some quality, character, behavior that I think if I lead a team one day, I want to do that. I want to be that. And something I also note it down, like, no, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to do that to my team. So I'm the collective of what I want to be when I grow up. So now the chance, like, okay, now I can do what I wish my manager would do. And with that, I think that the only thing that could inspire my team, even though I might not be in this role, or even though my team move on to other role, they might think, okay, one day, 10 years ago, I used to work with Chut and he's doing this and I like it. I want to do that to my team too. So that's it, because it's not about the structure, the process. It's about inspired possibility to be better manager, better leader. And that I was inspired when I was young. And I look at some senior executive 10 years ago. Wow, this guy got very disciplined habits. Like I can recall one of senior vice president who woke up every day at 4 or 5 a.m. and swim for 1 hour before going to work. And he's so fit. And look at the responsibility, his role. And wow, he's also run a marathon and climbing mountains. And wow, I want to be that kind of leaders who physically, mentally, and very sharp at that age. And that's how I'm inspired. And now I try to keep myself fit as well. So many of my friends said, okay, where you get all the time to do this? Said, it's all in my calendar. So even like the gym's time, blah, 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 is there. And I just do it. I just do it.
Yeah. And that's another example of modeling and paying it forward, right? Modeling and it's Ashok, this is a brilliant example of what we mean by quiet leaders. They are so self-aware. They know exactly I mean, they're looking at what they need to do, where I need to
Mhm.
improve, who can I get that information from, what book do I pick up, right? Who do I observe, and what's the behavior that I want to imbibe, because that's the behavior I want to be like, like you said, when I grow up, right? And Chut said, when I grow up, I want to be like that leader, right? So you've picked up stuff from picking up a book, from also picking up what is that behavior of that model that you want to follow, right? And what you're doing now is that you're walking that talk, and you're paying it forward with the others, and hopefully, in your own way, inspire them to do what you are doing, and you're enjoying doing it, right? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So book in action. Over to you, Ashok.
No worries, no worries. Thanks again, Chad, because like what Sham was saying is true. In our show, we've seen a lot of our leaders. They have the clarity like yourself, the self-awareness is there. And you already said very clearly, you know what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what you're inspired by, and therefore that drives all your choices. And 50 minutes ago, about 50 minutes ago, when we first started this program, right? You talked about wanting to be a leader that makes an impact, you know. And I would like to ask you a little bit about that area, but what are new policies that you like to introduce in your current status as a head of HR, right? That will make positive impact.
Mhm. It's not about just the policy. I'm thinking of bigger thing than that, like
Okay.
initiative for the whole Taikon. So I come up with this initiative called Go For It. Go For
Go
It.
for it.
And yes, and IT it stand for International Taikon.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
and and because I want to create a mission, because company want to go very international. We have company in different countries already, but
Mm.
we are not like fully leverage the fact that we have company in, let's say, in Australia, in India, in Japan, but we are not like really one big international community yet. So I kick off this initiative, and there are 4 or 5 work streams under it, and process and policy is one of the work stream. We also have like people capability, branding, and infrastructure. So with different work stream, uh, I and C levels handpick talents across the function to leading this. And this is a bit like meta. So we want to use this initiative to drive company forward, but at the same time, I look from people capability and talents,
Mm.
observation, cultivate the cross-function collaboration, and see who's the new or future leader of Taicom based on this initiative. So that's how I look at things. Like, it's not just about policy; it's the whole initiative. And with that, uh, people will say like, okay, I'm part of something that's bigger than just my role.
Nice. What I'm hearing from you is this. It's not just about policies, but what you said is it's a very aspiring initiative that you have. Go for it.
Mhm.
Something that people can dream about, they can be excited about, they can make a contribution, and make an impact in the sense. And you've really looked into different work streams in that sense, whether it is from a process and quality, people and capabilities and infrastructure and all of that. Beautiful. A beautiful way to have an aspiring goal and to drive forward. I suspect, I could be wrong, I suspect it is not easy because there are struggles in trying to implement this. I mean, it sounds fantastic. It's lovely. It's aspiring. It should be. But what are some of the struggles that you're facing in implementing and helping drive this initiative?
There's a lot of struggle. Of course, from the concept, the framework, everything just wow, brilliant. Everyone should listen to it and want to onboard. Like, go for it. let's do it. But since this is the first initiative in Thailand that involve like across team and not just in Thailand, across country as well. So there are many different expectations from the program. Like, okay, what's the end game? Or what my contribution would be? Would that be in my KPI or why add more work to me? I mean, I have no time to work already. Like, why you and some of them might not see it as a reward. Like, we are handpick you to be part of this initiative to drive the future of Thailand. But they say, why me again? As a talent, they got a lot of requests with more work. So that's not easy. Even though it should be simple and easy. Like, okay, why not? I say, why not? If someone tell me about this, let's do it. Just go for it. But in real life, many people have their own priority, their own KPI, the things that they need to ensure that they meet the target. So as a way of working as well. So this is part of the exercise. Like, okay, you have some of the team member based in Australia, some in Thailand. How would you work it out as a team? Because in the past, it's all about Thailand. So, okay, let's book a meeting room, have a meeting. But with this, I force the team to leverage technology like MS Team, how you leverage the project or the chat in MS Team, which sound so simple and basic, but not many employees in Bangkok use it regularly. So to my surprise as well, because I came from a company that this is part of the work, chat in MS Team, doing a project work, keeping files there. So that part of the culture, the way of work that I want to shift to be more like what international company would do or would work in this type of project. Of course, they use the platform.
Yep.
And because like I said, it's my intention to use this project as the exercise to stretch the team member who will be future leader of Thailand. Because otherwise, like, why do you have to use this? Everyone is here.
Yep.
No.
Yep. It's pushing the boundaries in comfort level of what. So it in a way, what I'm hearing is that the project is not difficult. The outcomes.
It's difficult. It's so difficult.
The project, let me rephrase that. Sorry, the project is not as difficult as getting the people on board onto the project. Right? It is. Yeah, it's like it can be done, but there's this block and there's a big hurdle that I need to pass, and that's the people part that I need to pass. That's the big hurdle, the people hurdle. Yeah, that's looking at it and making it challenging. Sorry, Ashok, kind of jumped in there.
No worries. No, thank you very much for that. So what I'm hearing from you from the struggles point of view, again, what you're saying is, yes, recognize that there are these struggles there. I think the starting point, because I think if you don't recognize it, you're going to get more frustrated. So recognize that, right? And what you told me is three things, it's about expectations. People have expectations. So it's about communicating that with clarity. It doesn't mean that the problem will be solved, but that is important aspect. Clarify the expectation. The other one you talked about is people have all their KPIs, they've got so much of work. Does this feel like as if they got to do more? So you got to be very clear about their contribution, their KPI. So there's a lot of what is in it for me kind of conversations also that you need to have. That's what I'm hearing from you. All right. Because that's why they're asking, why me? Why me? Why me? So as much as we have the big initiative, this is go for IT, go for it, IT global, let's go big. But we also need to talk to the people about their contribution, their impact, their expectations. That's what I'm hearing from you. These are some of the struggles which you need to recognize and you need to put in place. So my parting question to you, right, as we wrap up this beautiful session that we've had is, what advice do you have for leaders who are making an initiative like you, right? What advice would you have for leaders who are making this to make sustainable and impactful change? What can they do differently? What advice would you have for them?
Okay. I have two advice.
Two
The
advice.
first
Oh,
one,
even better.
the first one is to think strategically and start small.
Hmm.
I mentioned about small win, small change, but it's not random. It's part of the big scheme that I want to change. So I have the framework or the thing that I want to achieve, but I start small. So that's the first part. So you have to be patient. It will take longer than you think. Always from my experience. And you have to be flexible, because when you run to the wall, okay, let's find some other way. It might not be the same ABC as we thought. Have to be A, N, M, and go back and achieve the goal and take longer. So that's part of the process. So this is my first advice. The second advice would be thinking about stakeholder management. Know your stakeholder. When you're leading and want to create change, a sizable, impactful change, it's not just you and project. It's always about stakeholders. So for me, it could be my peer C-level, my CEO, my board of directors, and my team and employees. So different stakeholder has different agenda and different style. So you have to manage accordingly. Yeah. So that's my two advice on this.
Nice. Thank you very much for that. So what I'm hearing from you is two things. One is, yes, you think strategically, but start small. Be patient and be flexible. And the last one is all about managing the people, because you want to make an impact. So they have their agendas, they have their own styles, but how do you now manage that to make that impact? So thank you very much, Chut, for giving us a very good lesson, right, about leadership impact and the power to make the changes. And you've told us how to do it with self-reflection again, understanding what you are, what you don't want to do, right, and making the choices with the values that you have, right, and always being fair, right, being fair in the way you move forward. Thank you very much, Sham. We've done 1 hour. Wow.
Yes. I just wanted to ask Chut before we close the show if you had any last things that you'd like to say. And I also want to thank you very much for saying yes to us. And after so long, I know I knocked on your door and you said yes hesitantly. So thank you very much for that. Any last words that you have for our viewers?
So if you want to connect with me via LinkedIn, I'll be glad to connect with all of you. And yeah, let's create an impact together.
Yes, very nice. Thank you very much, Chut. I'm going to put you in the backstage and wish you a good evening while we wrap up the show. All right. Thank you. Let me just do that. Tap.
All right.
I'm taking fair. Okay. I am taking fair. Fair is
Let's
mine.
be fair.
Fair. Yes. All right. So for me, to add on to what think strategically, but start small. And I think for me, that resonates because we tend to think that change happens in big ways. It's somehow or other just kind of in our brain that when it's change must be big.
Mm.
What Chut has just very nicely showed us time and again in so many different examples was how you can do it in small ways,
Yep.
consistently, and over a long period of time, that change will come. It will take time because there's nothing that happens overnight, right? The change that
Right.
happens overnight are the things that happen externally beyond our control, and we just kind of have to deal with that. So for me, it's that those two takeaways that I'm having, that I'm taking away from our conversation with Chut.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are going to close for today. For this week, it's 7:07. But just before we close off, I'm going to tell you 2 dates that you need to keep in mind. If you are in Kuala Lumpur or PJ, Malaysia, please block off the 13th of November. That is when the Leadership Learning Festival is happening in Kuala Lumpur, hosted by Muller and the Hearts and Minds Development Center. And that's a whole day event. So if you would like to join us, you're a leader, regardless of function, you're leading a team, you like to join us and look at the well-being of your team and your organization, Ping Muller. And the other date would be 20th of November, because that's when we are having it in Singapore, the Leadership Learning Festival. So if you're keen to join us, keynotes and also learning tracks, let me know. And we'll send you an invitation. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of the week, everyone, till we see you next week. Next week, what's happening, Ashok? It's a different thing. Tell.
Yeah.
Plug
So
in.
next week is going to be a bit difficult, different. We're going to have a panel. Yes, we're going to have panel online. And we're going to be digging around a topic that really matters for a lot of people. It's about well-being and healthcare cause. And
Yeah.
we're going to go a bit deeper to find out what are the real problems. And we've got a surprise solution for everyone that's going to blow your minds away.
Okay,
Till
there
next
we
week.
go. All right. So that's next week, and then that's in November. Till next week, everyone. Bye bye. Have a good evening. Enjoy your dinner and time with the family. Good night.
Bye.